keeps working 9 to 5. If you want more than to stay alive, come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. I'ma be keep dancing through the night. Stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. I'ma be keep dancing through the night. Stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, the morning light. Oh, I just wanna be your Superman. Come fly with me, just take my hand.
Again, I am here again. We are here again, and Just Us Girls. And as usual, hey, beautiful girls.
Hey.
Lawanda, Dree, how y'all doing? Amen. Amen. So we are excited again one more time to come before you. I'm so excited about the discussion that we are going to embark upon today. We are still continuing, we're in part 2 of forgiveness. Okay, so we have part 1 the last time we came together. Now we're dealing with part 2, and we are talking about forgiveness. So we want you to join in the conversation, share with somebody, share on your page, let somebody know that Just Us Girls, we are back on the air again, and we are coming to you. Get your pen, get your paper out, get something that you can really, pull your Bibles out if you have to follow along with us. Whatever it is that makes it happen for you, we want you to be comfortable, because we're going to give you some very important information on today so that you can live your best life. We are looking forward to empowering you to a better life. All right, so here we go. Again, we're dealing with part 2 of forgiveness. And the first thing that we're going to discuss on today is recognize the recipient of your unforgiveness. In other words, who is being hurt? That's the first thing that we're going to talk about today. The next thing that we're going to discuss is acknowledge the part, if any, that you played in the incident. All right. And then thirdly, we're going to talk about acknowledge both the positive and negative parts of the relationship. Now, the last time we were here, we went ahead and we said to you to get a journal. And the first thing that we will encourage you to do is to identify the issue. So the first thing was identifying the issue or identifying your hurt. And the next thing was define your emotions. So that was number 1, and that was number 2. Define your emotions. So today we're going to pick up at number 3, 4, and 5. So let me know when you're ready. We are ready to move on. You should have your pen and you should have your paper ready. And we are going to take some copious notes, and we're going to make sure that we get you to the place where you need to be. So come on, girls, let's dig in. Okay, again, recognize the recipient of your unforgiveness. Like I said, in other words, who is being hurt by your unforgiveness? All right, so let's talk about that now. All right, Lawanda, what you got for us today? And you got some juicy stuff for us today.
Okay, I think about, when we're talking about unforgiveness and who is really being affected by it. When you look at the whole picture, we're talking about someone else that is also dealing with this, because when we think about unforgiveness, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could have been a brother or sister, it could be someone else that is also being affected by this. So when you look at this, and then what happens is it also becomes a domino effect. So when I look at this, it says, okay, if you're walking around with unforgiveness, then what happens is, what about those that are surrounding you? Are are you expecting them to also have unforgiveness and hold grudges? Because then what happens is it stops you from doing certain things that you want to do, because you feel that because you're not forgiving them, that they should not forgive them either. But if they didn't do anything to that person, then they have no reason to be holding any kind of grudge or anything against them. So they have to also realize the part that we played in this, and to say, okay, you know what? Someone is now being affected by this, and not just one person, but it could be more than one person that is being affected. What happens to a husband who is just really upset with the wife? And what happens is now the children are being affected, because now neither one is talking to each other. So now the children are being affected, so what happens to our families, when we don't want to go to certain events and different things, because now you expect everybody else to be upset because you're upset, which is totally unfair, because now it's affecting other people. So when something is now affecting someone else, we have to look in that mirror and we have to say to ourselves, okay, wait a minute, is this really worth it? Is it really worth it to make other people suffer because I don't know how to forgive? Is that really fair? Nah, not really, because sometimes you have to weigh it. You have to look at the pros and the cons and realize, is this really worth the relationship? Because if anything that is worth fighting for, you will fight for it, because it's what's worth it to you. So I think that this is, when I look at it, that's how I somewhat see it.
I like that. All right. Now, Dree, what we got today?
Well, anyone can be affected once you're in a relationship, or even if you're not in a relationship, you can be hurt by someone who's not in your space. So, if you don't practice forgiveness, it will harm you for the rest of your life. As Luanda said, it can be a domino effect. It could be a mother hurting a child. If a parent hurts a child, that's a deep hurt. If a child hurts a parent, the same thing. Husband and wife is the same thing. So it trickles down. So we just have to learn how to practice forgiveness so we can move on and get that pain out and move on with our lives. It can affect you.
I like that, Dree. And I like what you said to also Luanda, because when you have unforgiveness in your heart towards, like you said, it's a mother or a sister, it could be a friend, it could be a father, it could be anyone for that matter. What happened, a loved one. You could have had a relationship with someone for a very long time, and then here, it could be a group of you. Now, let's just break it down for a little bit. It could be a group of you, a group of friends that, has been friends for many years, and, there's some sort of a disagreement. And what ended up happening is that you, and Luanda said it so clearly, is that you expect the other people to be mad at them because you're mad at them. But then, no, I did not say that to that person, or that person and we're good. Both of you have that disagreement. Now, guess what happened? You deal with it and you fix that, because you're carrying this on for the rest of your life, as Dree, had pointed to. You're carrying this on for the rest of your life. And is it really worth it? Is it really worth holding on to this? Because the recipient, the person to whom this unforgiveness is towards, what ended up happening with that person probably doesn't even know.
Right.
That's the crazy thing about it. That person probably doesn't even know how deeply that, it could be just something to brush off, water off the duck's back, but you're holding that. And you're holding that. The last time we spoke about, you have that, the person has that power. You're holding that inside of you. And we know, like we said before, it messes with your health and your well-being. You're isolated. There's so many aspects of when you have unforgiveness in your heart towards someone, and the person to whom that, this hurt is been, imposed upon. You will see the person and you're like, you walk on the other side of the street, or you're in the grocery store and the person probably saying hi to you or what have you, but you don't want to say hello because you have something in your heart towards this individual. And it's like, what did I do? What did I say? And unfortunately, some people really don't know what's going on.
That's true.
If you think about it, but some people do not really know what's going on with that. The recipient, the person, it could be your mom, your dad, your friend, a loved one, a sister or brother, you know, think about, you know, what happened. Think about, you know, the gravity, and think about, you know, what end up, you know, causing this issue to arise in your life. Why is it you're feeling this way? We talked about the emotions the last time, you know, sadness, you're angry, you know, you're bewildered, you're confused. There's so many things that's actually going on with you, but the recipient now, it's like, how do they feel? You know, sometimes we think of it, you know, as in terms of, well, wait a minute, how did she feel about what's going on here? And I know we talk about forgiveness and you're supposed to forgive that person, but wait a minute, I've said this thing to my mom, or I said this thing to my brother or my sister. You know, how do they feel? You know, they're losing out to the relationship because you're holding on to something that they don't even know why. And then they try to call, no, listen, here's the crazy part. They try to call you and you don't, I ain't going to talk to her. I heard what you said last year about me. Listen, thank you. Sometimes, and this is so true, it could be a gossip. Sometimes it could very well be a gossip. Someone something that someone else heard, and by the time it got around to you, you're upset, you're angry, you're all out of shit, and that person doesn't even know what is actually going on. But you're holding this in your heart, but if you only just take a moment and make a phone call or confront it, we say write it down, and when you really take that moment to look at it, you'll find that it is pretty much nothing. Sometimes you realize that it is absolutely nothing. You know, but so we have to assess the situation. We have to take a look at it. Like we said, identify it. Now, if you get a gossip from somebody, instead of getting upset, and not knowing the facts of what that, first of all, if it didn't come from that person's mouth, I don't believe a word. But you hear something and you hold it in your heart, and what you carry that for the rest of your days, instead of what? You know what? Let me speak to Johnny and hear what Johnny had to say about it. Or let me speak to my mom and let me hear what my mom had to say. Or let me speak to my sister or my brother and hear what they have to say about this particular issue or incident.
Right.
You know, we have to be careful as to what it is that we're putting out there. You know, it is so important to do that. Yes, no one to go ahead.
Yeah, it's so true. We don't think about it like that, but it's true. And I thought about, you know, really just, you touched something when you talked about the gossip. And what happens is, it's so true. By the time it comes back to you, that's not even the way it was. It was so, the communication just wasn't there. And it's so, you just received something that wasn't even meant to be taken like that. And then what happens is, we go through so long, we don't want to talk to them, which is absolutely correct. You know, hey, we've all been there, did it, done it. You know, where you say, okay, you know what, if that's how they feel, then I don't want to be bothered. If that's how, then I don't want, but at the same point, did we take a moment and pause and say, okay, well, just maybe, let me just call for a minute. Let me just see, you know, let me be the bigger person, because sometimes we need to be the bigger person. It doesn't take anything away from you, from being a person. But what happens is, when pride comes in, because it does come in, and it takes over us, we feel that it's going to make us feel like we're nothing, or it's going to seem like, oh, see, I told you I was waiting for her to come apologize. I was waiting for him, but who cares? At the end of the day, it is an issue that needs to be resolved. It is something that needs to be talked about. And the only way you're going to find out exactly what happened is to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to act like it didn't exist. We act like there wasn't a problem when there is a problem, because now you're losing time that you cannot get back. The time is gone now, but we can pick up and do better. You know, I always say, when you know better, you'll do better. We need to do better. And when we do that, we find it, we'll begin to feel better. And we'll realize that that weight is coming off, like we talked about before, about the weight being lifted off of you. You can now move to this place of accepting and acknowledging that this is what happened. And then to come to the point of not just blaming that person, but what part did you play in it? Because there's somehow, this did not just happen by itself. Dialogue, two people. So something happened. So it just takes us back to that point that says, okay, let me see, what did I do? Because if you really go back and play it back, you will find that maybe I said something that wasn't so nice. Maybe I sent a text that wasn't so nice. Maybe I could have chosen my words a little differently. So, and at that point, it might be something that small, but it still was something that was done. No matter how you looked at it, you still played some kind of part in it. So I think that it's just, once we realize that, we can go on and we can be better, and we want to be better. So we don't have to carry that weight. It's like carrying dead weight. Come on. You don't want to keep carrying dead weight. We don't want to keep carrying extra luggage. It's time to empty out the suitcase. It's time to empty.
That's right.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Come on.
You know what? And you're so right. And it's like, you know, sometimes it could be something so small. Is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. Most people can't let go of the past. They can't let go of the hurt. But guess what? Maybe because you don't appreciate the future.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. Ooh.
Right.
That's a good one. I like that. Ooh, say that again, Drea.
I like that.
Yes. Some people, most people cannot let go of the hurt, cannot let go of the past. And that means sometimes it may be that you cannot appreciate the future.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's powerful. That is powerful right there. I love that. That is very profound, you know, because when you really think about it, and the one that said it also, is acknowledge the part, you know, if any at all, that you played in the incident. Now, when you acknowledge that, acknowledgement is like you're recognizing where you went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you cannot recognize where you went wrong, you're looking at, like what Dre said, you know, you really don't appreciate, you know, the future. Like, where do you think you'll end up if you have unforgiveness in your heart and you cannot forgive? Where do you think you'll end up? What do you think will happen to you? You know, are you really living your full life? Are you really living to full potential? You know, and that's like, you know, appreciating your future. You know what I mean? I'm so happy about that quote. Drew, write that down so you can we can use that again. That was so profound.
The future.
So, like I said before, what was your role? Because it takes two.
Yes.
You know, you're not going to work with unforgiveness because of, you know, the world didn't hurt you. You know, although the snow did not, you know, hit you, or the sun was, it's too bright. You know, I hate it. No, what was your role? It has to be something. What did you do? First of all, what did you say? What did you say? Did you get the facts right? Did you get it straight? Did you just accuse someone of doing something that, first of all, they didn't have a part? They weren't even close to the conversation. You know what I mean? But something triggered it. What part did you play, if any? Okay, let's just say you played a part in this, right? Mm-hmm. You had an argument, you know, was there an argument between you and some friends? All right. Were the exchange of words? You know, were the exchange of words? What did you say? You know, the thing, because the words do hurt. What did you say? What did that person, what was the exchange? What happened? And then was it that bad? Was it that poorly? What was that exchange? Was that, you know, crazy enough for you to say, you know what, I'm not going to talk to you anymore? Was it that bad? Talk to me, somebody. Was it that bad that you would say, listen, I'm not going to talk to her anymore. We've been friends for 15 years, but this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. I am not going to talk to you anymore because you said that one word. Or that one sentence, or that one phrase. Was it really worth it? Talk about that for a little bit. Acknowledging the part that you played in that. You know, let's see what's going on with that. Let's explore that a little bit.
I agree, because when you sit there and you think about it, you're like, okay, because we're quick to say what we didn't do, but what about what we did do? We're quick to say, oh no, I didn't have anything to do with it. No, I was just trying to be nice. I was just trying to talk. And it seems like all of a sudden now it just went a totally different way that we just weren't expecting it. And what happens is we find that can really become an issue, because it's not until we address it. We have to realize that we're not perfect. We make mistakes. And sometimes we say things, and not intentionally. Sometimes it can be unintentionally. So when we look at that, we realize to say, okay, just maybe I did say something that maybe was inappropriate, and maybe not realizing that I offended them also. And sometimes it can just be, you'd be surprised how these things can be fixed quickly. You will be surprised how a simple phone call, a simple text to say, are you available in about 10 minutes, few minutes? I just need to reach out to you. That's providing they didn't block you, because they could have blocked you. That's providing that they don't have that. Then we have to find another way to communicate. They got the email and other ways. So you can still find another way to communicate with them. So if you want to, yes, you can. And that's what it is. It's about saying, I want my relationship. I want to be better. I want to work this out. I don't want to continue to live my life like this. I want to keep living a better life. I don't want to keep walking around with stress and depression. I don't want to keep feeling like the weight. I just want to be better. So release this. It's about a release. So if I can find this way of letting go, so that this way I no longer have to feel like I'm dealing with depression or feeling like I'm just by myself because I didn't want to deal with the issue. No, we have to. And once we can realize what we did, because there's something, it might be something, like I said, it might have been a little tiny, but it's still something. And I'm telling you, we want to move forward. And once we realize we can, because there's no looking back. We don't want to look back. We want to keep moving forward. So we can realize that, what part did I play in it? And sometimes when you sit back and you begin to think about, when you start to play it back, I don't know about you, I've done it, where I begin to play back from when the incident happened all the way up until, and I'm going back to different things, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Okay, let's go deal with this, because it's really not as bad as we think it is. And we just think, sometimes we think some things are just, there's no resolving them, but did we ever try to resolve it? That's the thing. Before we say no, did we try and resolve the issue? Right. Did we say, because what happens is you begin to think for the other person. You can't think for them. You don't know what they're thinking. We're assuming, but we really don't know what they're thinking. So until we reach out to them, will we really know? And if we did play a part, let's step up. Let's put on our grown clothes and let's just say, you know what, this is what I did. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
For it, because I love you like that. I love you so much like that. You know what? I'm gonna do what I have to do because I want to make it better.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is too, some situations are different. So some people are forced into certain situations, and so it's not as easy to forgive. So that will take time, and that will take a lot of patience. But and the thing is, if it's something simple that you can rectify, how much does your relationship value to you? If it's something so simple, you can reconcile that situation. You can fix that situation, talk about it, communicate about it, move on about it. How much does your relationship value? How much is it worth?
I like that, Tree. I like that so much.
Stand up.
Yes, that's right. The one that said, put on your big clothes, your big, your grown-up clothes, and then you also say, in other words, does the value of the relationship match your pants? That's a good one. Does the value of your relationship match the offense. Now, what happens now? You've been, like we said before, you've been in this relationship for so long, and something happened. It's something that as minuscule as God knows what it was, but you're holding on to that for dear life. And then, as Dre said also, that there's some offenses that is like a little bit deeper than others. Some, you can, not to say brush it off, but you can really talk about it, and you can reason. The Bible says, "Come, let us reason together." You can talk, but you can reason together. But others, it will take a little bit more time. It'll take because there's some rooted things. I mean, things that's taken root onto other things, and other spirits has come into into your being, into your body, and into your spirits, where it's like, oh my God, I can't deal with this anymore. Some instances you have got to, and we said in the last session that we had, you have got to seek counsel. You have got to seek professional help, and there's nothing wrong with that. Seek the professional help that you need in order for you to release that power back. Now, what we can discuss also now is to acknowledge both the positive and negative parts of the relationship. Now, the positive. Now, this is what I'm just going to say quickly. Here's what you have. You have a relationship. Let's just say you're in a marriage or something, or a brother-sister relationship. You're all grown up now and everything like that. You have a brother-sister relationship. Think about the good times. How about that? We're just going to keep for right now. Think about the positive aspects of your relationship. Think about it for a moment. Just take a moment. As I said to you, get a journal, start writing some things down, because when you write things down, guess what happened? You're able to put things into perspective. You identify that. Think about it. Think about the positive aspects of this relationship, and think about the negative things. So you have on one side positive, on another side you have negative. All right. Now, if you want to draw it like a T, do it like that. And you're really taking the time to put the things down. Positive. I remember when I was going through this, I remember that he or she was there for me. I remember when I was dealing with this, and that person was there for me. We had so much laughter. We have so much this. We have so much that. And then the negative part of the relationship, well, she said that about me last week, and or last month or 2 years ago. And that's the only thing you have on that side. What was said. But when we go back to say, does the value of the relationship match the offense? You have all these positive things about your relationship, all these good times that you had. You traveled together, you cried together, you can go to the same church or what have you. You have friends one with another, but this one offense came up. So what are you going to do? You're going to put away all of those years of friendship and of companionship and all that just for one thing that was said. You know what? Was it really worth it? I don't really think so. Like Lawanda said, it is not worth it. Life is too short to hold on to something. You're missing out. You're missing out of a fulfilled life. The burden, travel lightly. Listen, y'all.
Exactly.
Time to take the head and the brick and the truck. Put that suitcase away. It's too heavy. Travel light. Release it. Psychology today said forgiveness is the release of resentment. Bingo. Release it. You can breathe. Take a deep breath. Breathe. Renew your mind. Renew your spirit. Renew your strength. Talk about that to me. Think of the positive and the negative aspect of this and see if it's really, really worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what, Dawn. So, a part of like a strong relationship, first thing is communication. So begin with there, start there. Call your friend up, have a cup of coffee together, go out and do something fun that you guys once did. Whomever it is, call that person up, meet somewhere, communicate, effectively, talk about it, release whatever it is that is, going on in your mind, that emotion, that feeling, express it, So, that right there, because if you bring in it, the negative aspect of this is having that self-pity. You're having self-pity for yourself because you're thinking that you are the victim. That person, again, may not know that they have hurt you in some way. So communicate it. So both for yourself and the other party, that you can come together, resolve it, you know, and see where you can go from there.
Sounds good.
I agree. I totally agree, because you get to the point that how long can you play the victim? You can only play the victim but so long. Come on, the victim card, come on. We've all played the victim card. You know, you get to a point that you say, okay, no, I don't want to live like that, because you know what? I want to look at the positive of this. And if I can look at the positive things that were part of the relationship and things that, you know, we had good times and we smiled and we laughed, and when I was crying, you were there for me, and just, you know, just remembering, going back down memory lane of so many things, that because you find that the good outweighs the bad. You might have one negative thing, like we said, or it might be a couple of negative things, but the good is still going to outweigh the bad. So when you positive, hold on to what you know. And so, okay, it might be 2 or 3 negative things, but once you begin to really look at it and you start to say, okay, you know what? I can move on. I can. Because you have to know who you are and start to feel better about you, because we want to live a better life. And once we do that, we realize that we can move on. So remember, the good always outweighs the bad. It does. So just continue, you know, hey, weigh it and you say, hey, it's time to move on. So let's keep moving on.
That's right. I like that. It's time to move on. It is time to move on. I like that. LaWanda and G, both of you make so many good points. I like that. I like the fact that, you know, the good outweigh the bad. We have so many things. You have your life to live. You have so much to be thankful for, so much to live for. You know, don't let, you know, unforgiveness stay in your heart and weigh you down. And, you know, you're carrying this thing around with you. Lighten the load and live your life. Lighten the load and live your life. Life was meant to be lived.
That's
you
right.
live life to the best of your ability. Do not allow anything at all to hold you back. I'm going to leave a scripture with you. St. Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 to 15. If ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Listen. You want to live a life that is pleasing to the Lord. You want to live a free life. You want to live a life that is, you're not oppressed, you're not depressed. You want to live a life, you want to make sure that your health is in good standing. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you put out there is just positive. Negativity will come, but don't let it be because of you. Don't let it be because of the unforgiveness that you held in your heart towards someone for all of these years. Release it. It's time to let it go and to live your life. On that note, I'm going to say to you girls, we had a great conversation today. I know that time is already upon us. Good conversation. We're going to continue this. We're not going to stop at this. We want to make sure that, you know, you get it. Everyone who's listening, we want to make sure you can go back and you can play it. You can, if you missed it today, you can always go back and you can get it. You can, you know, it's on our Facebook page. You can go and you can take notes, because we want you to live your best life. Just us girls, we're here to empower you to a better life. So thank you for joining us on today. God bless you until we meet again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. to fall. If you want more than to stay alive, come on over, we can make it through.